Calm down, you scoundrel! Calm down and let me tell you a story. Not too long ago, when your fathers were about your age, the Chinese returned to Dai Viet. After more than 500 years of independence, the Vietnamese kingdom came once again under the thumb of a Chinese emperor. The Ming dynasty had come to assist the Vietnamese claimant to the throne, but as the country plummeted into chaos, the Ming emperor decided to take the kingdom for himself. Ming soldiers entered and occupied the Vietnamese villages and cities. But while the aristocracy prospered under Ming occupation, the common people suffered. It was clear that the Vietnamese people needed a hero to unite and free the country once more. This hero was Lê Lôi. Lê Lôi was the son of a nobleman, but despite his heritage, he despised the other aristocracy who had sided with the enemy. Lê Lôi's family had founded a new town in northern Vietnam before the Ming occupation, far from the control of the Hanoi government. Here up far north, he gained the support of two famous families, the Trinh and the Nguyen. Vastly outnumbered, Lê Lôi turned to waging a guerrilla war against the large and well-organized Ming army in 1418. His resistance could only succeed if he managed to avoid confrontation with the Ming and waited for the seeds of rebellion to bear fruit.
There are many villages in the area currently under control by Ming forces.
I see. We are to avoid open confrontation, yet we need to liberate our brethren.
Điện hạ có gì sai bảo?
Điện hạ có gì sai bảo?
Xin phụng mệnh, tiểu nhân làm ngay.
It began slowly and with rather few successes, but soon Lê Lôi started to gain more and more support from the people. The people even dismissed the former Tran dynasty, calling Lê Lôi the peacemaking king. However, the Ming became wary of his actions and decided to act. A war was imminent. Then disaster struck the Vietnamese rebels. Defeated in battle and chased by the Ming army, they retreated to a mountain fortress in Chi Linh, but realized upon their arrival that there were few supplies remaining within. The mountain fortress had become a dead trap, with the Ming armies encircling it from all sides. The situation was dire for Lê Lôi and his fellow commanders on top of that barren mountain. The Ming brought a large army to assure that none of the rebels would be able to escape, and the destruction of the rebellion seemed inevitable.
Enemy soldiers are trying to breach the walls!
The Chinese are surrounding us, and soon there will be no way out. You should clear the eastern side so our army can still escape before we are trapped here.
Điện hạ có gì sai bảo?
When all appeared to be lost, one of Lê Lôi's commanders, Lê Lai, devised a plan. While Lê Lôi and the main bulk of the army forced their escape to the less defended eastern flank, Lê Lai pretended to be Lê Lôi and led a frontal charge right into the Ming forces. Rushing into the mass of Ming soldiers, followed by his loyal men in the early morning sun, Lê Lai's final charge can be described as nothing but glorious. It was a sad day for Lê Lôi and his men to have lost such a brave commander. Lê Lai died so that Lê Lôi and his men could continue the fight, and so they did. The rebels became more determined than ever before. rebellion started to pick up later that year, and this time Lê Loi could go on the offensive. The main goal for Lê Loi was to take Hanoi and prevent Ming reinforcements to reach the garrisons in the southern Vietnamese cities. However, the Ming army was large and determined to keep the city. Before we can attack Hanoi, we will need to secure some resources. There's a rice paddy to the west under Ming control. Let us take it back.
Tiểu nhân đã rõ.
The Ming tried their best to prevent Hanoi from falling, but in the end failed to do so. With Hanoi captured, Lê Loi had shown that the rebellion was well underway to achieve its goals. Now the Ming had learned to fear him. They knew he was a strong pretender for the throne, and if they wanted to stop him, they'd have to bring in a more experienced general. Once Hanoi had fallen, Lê Loi looked south, towards the Ming capital of Hue An. To get there, however, his army would have to pass by a fortress, which was in the hands of Cam Bain, a Vietnamese magnate in service to the Ming. The Ming were not going to let the Vietnamese take the fortress so easily, and so they sent their most capable general, Hoang Tong, to lift the siege. Hoang Tong was an experienced tactician, a veteran of several Ming wars. If anyone was able to challenge Lê Loi, it would be him. The fort of Cam Bain isn't far away. We will set up a camp here where we can cut off his reinforcement.
Tiểu nhân làm ngay.
The Ming made several attempts to reach the fortress, but the Vietnamese managed to repulse the large army of Hoang Tong. The fortress fell, and Cam Bain was captured, signifying another important turning point in the war. Hoang Tong and his army weren't completely defeated, but he had gotten himself in a bad position with low supplies. No longer able to attack the Vietnamese or prevent the Vietnamese rebels to go south, he retreated to a safe location. Now the way south laid open for Lê Loi's army, with Hoang Tong following it closely. In 1425, Lê Loi wrote to Hoang Tong, "In the past, we had few weapons. Now our warships line up like clouds. Armors shine against the sun. Firearms pile up, and our gunpowder storage are full. Compared to the past, our transition to a position of strength has become apparent." But despite the successes in increasing military power, Lê Loi soon found himself in another predicament. He needed to consolidate his gains in the south fast before the Ming had a chance to react. Certainly with Hoang Tong so closely on his tail, waiting for him to make a mistake. To achieve his goals, Lê Loi sent his commanders out to 3 different locations. Dinh Le, commander of the cavalry, would move on the Ming citadel of Dong Do to keep Hoang Tong occupied. The expert swordsman Le Trien would move north and try to intercept the reinforcements under the leadership of Liu Xing, who had broken through the northern defenses and were on their way south. And the feared Liu Nanchu and wise Bui Bi would make a move on Hue An. Only if all 3 plans succeeded, Tran Tri and his Ming forces could be prevented from striking back. Lê Loi's plan hung by a thread, a very thin thread.
General, we must prevent Liu Sheng and his reinforcements from reaching Hoang Tong, so our troops can siege down Niang and Dongdo.
the Ming will learn to fear Li kill on the battlefield.
Xin tuân lệnh.
The chances were stacked against the Vietnamese, but somehow they still won. Liu Sheng and his Ming reinforcements were ambushed and killed, while Wang Tong was marooned in the citadel of Dongdo. Huai'an remained in Ming hands due to the gunpowder weapons the defenders possessed. Still, the Ming were on the losing side of the war, and it was doubtful that even an able general like Wang Tong would be able to turn the tide. The Ming had lost control over most of Dai Viet. It was only a matter of time before they would be utterly defeated. Lê Lôi, however, wanted to make peace and offered the Ming a peace deal where they'd divide the country. The Ming were prepared to accept it, but the Vietnamese magnates did not want to give in. Lê Lôi gathered his whole army and marched for Dongdo, where Wang Tong had retreated to. The remaining Ming army was still well supplied and strong, even though no reinforcements could reach them from China. General Wang Tong would not go down without a fight.
The Ming are attacking us! Hold your ground! Attack the Loi has been wounded in combat.
Fight with courage in your hearts, men. The Ming are all but defeated.
Tiểu nhân làm ngay.
By 1427, the Ming had been defeated in battle, and Dongdo had fallen. Lê Lôi and Wang Tong met in person south of the citadel, where they made a pact to cease all hostilities. It was a glorious day for the Vietnamese, as they once again gained their independence and formed a united kingdom under the leadership of the new king, the great Lê Lôi. The remaining Ming soldiers and commanders were at the mercy of the Vietnamese, but Lê Lôi was a gracious and honorable winner. The Ming generals were invited to a lavish banquet, and afterwards were allowed to lead the 86,640 remaining Ming soldiers back to China. 500 ships were allocated for those who wanted to travel overseas, and 20,000 captured men and horses were released. Among these generals was Wang Tong, who also returned to China and later fought in many more Ming wars before retiring. Regardless of how well Lê Lôi treated the retreating Ming soldiers, he was aware that Dai Viet would never be safe from Chinese interventions once he was gone. So after Lê Lôi was crowned, he patched the relationship with the Chinese and gained with the Ming Emperor the status of an independent tributary state for Dai Viet. It was a small cost for the reborn state in return for peace at its northern borders. And while Lê Lôi ended up doing much more great things for the country, things didn't keep being so great after he died, as he had expected. Internal struggles and politics contaminated the Vietnamese court like an infectious disease. Of all the famous heroes who fought with Lê Lôi, None died peacefully in their beds, but even so, thanks to Lê Lôi, Dai Viet retains its independence under the leadership of the Le dynasty till this day. You wonder, why does a Chinese know so much of Vietnamese history? Why does he hold that foreigner, Lê Lôi, in such high regard? Especially since he fought a long war against his own country and defeated its armies. Well, that's because I am Wang Tong, former general, and Lê Lôi's adversary. And in my many years of fighting, I have never fought a more noble and smart commander than him. I do not easily think of others as my equal, but we met several times to try to broker a peace between us, and shared the same hardships during this war, even if it was on different sides. I respect that man as if he was my brother.